So now we've given it a bit of time. It's been about 36 hours since a missile fell on Poland, tragically killing 2 Polish people. And that is the tragedy. And I think the tragedy of this is being, overseen a little. 2 people lost their lives in this. And I hate when someone loses their life in something and then people try and turn a massive political stance on it without actually accepting that. So, as seeing that for what it is, 2 people, innocent civilians, tragically lost their life. And to address what people will always say is, well, no, none of this would have happened if not for Russia invading. And of course, I accept that, and that's in it. But as I explained in the video yesterday, well, yes, but how far back do you want to go? But I think there's something else that's actually more burning in this, is now that the missile is almost 100% confirmed to be a Ukrainian air defense missile that has fallen, and I will go over some other things in this, but everyone has basically said now that it is Ukrainian air defense. The problem that's happened is all these people jumped straight away on Russian missile. And the concerning part to me is these are world leaders. I didn't want to make an Instagram post. I'm a small Instagrammer, a small YouTuber, just some fat dude with cancer in fucking South Australia, Adelaide, small city. And I was like, well, look, I don't want to release an Instagram post to my couple hundred followers without knowing the facts. Yet, these world leaders with millions of population beneath them, tens of millions of followers on social medias, Instagram, etc., jumped to conclusions or lied, like outright lied, and still have maintained those lies. And it's not just President Zelensky, although I believe he's probably the one in this that has the most influential pull and is now copping a lot of flack. Zelensky is seen worldwide as a bit of a hero, a bit of a, upholder of the free world and this and that and all of it. And, in many cases, fair enough. But I just checked and it's been about 36, 37 hours since the rocket fell, and is still maintaining that it is a Russian missile, that it could not have been Ukrainian. And everyone knows Ukraine has the right to self-defense. Everyone has the right to self-defense, from a personal level to a community level to a country level. And that is what Ukraine is having, is a right to self-defense. That said, these attempts, I believe attempts to try and draw more NATO forces in, or draw NATO into this through information that was not verified. And now that it has been verified, it went from a speculation, an unverified speculation, to now a lie. It's now a lie, and it is still online. It's still online. And that is very concerning. If the willingness to lie, and I have nothing against any of these people, but the willingness to lie, that to me is incredibly dangerous. And this could end up a bit of like a boy who cried wolf. And, well, what if the next thing isn't a lie and people go, oh, whatever, that just happened. And it's all over social media both ways. And, of course, Russia bombing NATO trended massively in the media. And now that it's been turned around, well, that didn't trend. So I'd believe that the majority of people, maybe not you or I, because if you're watching this, you're sort of involved in this information space. But if you're not involved in this and you asked who bombed, oh, Russia did. It's a little bit like when you... someone, says something bad about you, and even if you prove them wrong, more people know about the bad thing than the good thing. And I think that damages a lot of, the reputation, and could be very bad politically long term. Well, both NATO and Poland have said that this was probably not a Russian strike. And if they're willing to use that sort of language and say it's probably not, if it was, or if there was any evidence of it being, that would be a fantastic, line in the sand for, right, we're sending more of this, blah, blah, blah. So the odds of this being Russian now are so little. And it's funny to actually, because I read your comments, I do, to go through some things. So a lot of people saying, well, what about Belarus? That's realistic. The Belarus is in range of, I brought up, this missile had, and I'll say, 120, 130 kilometres of range. it could have been fired from the nearest point of Belarus. And that is a possibility, although you'd think in this, if there was any evidence of that by 36 hours now, and probably, the number one trending thing, and it would help the agenda and the narrative of this war so much that it would have come out if it was that. And the other thing I saw was people saying, oh, the missile ranges you're referring to, Willie, are classified. And that is completely true. Of course they're classified. But it's not going to be classified triple. They're not going to get the range wrong by 300%. So yeah, let's say it's classified and they go, yep, it's got 150 kilometers. It may be plus 10, 20, 30%. But what we're talking was, if it was a Russian S-300, you're not talking plus 10, 20, 30, 40, 50%. You're plusing 400%, 500% on the range. So I believe that was a fair enough thing to say, well, it definitely wasn't a Russian S-300 because, yeah, look, the classified range, unclassed range is 150. Maybe the classified is double. Maybe it's 300. That's still, even that 300 is still a third, a quarter, a fifth away from probably the nearest Russian system. And a lot of people will say, well, you're disregarding the other 90 to 100 missiles that fell on Ukraine yesterday. No, I'm not. I appreciate that was, and I appreciate and accept absolutely that was a catastrophe hitting, because it was the biggest barrage of missiles since. But we're talking about two different incidents. The incidents of a NATO member getting hit, and the incident does have massive repercussions, potential repercussions, depending who fired it. And if there's people that are speculating who hold a position of authority, and this is the problem. I don't hold a position of authority at all, and I don't want to speculate. The bloody Australian Foreign Minister was on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Penny Wong, was going on about, oh, this Russian missile, this. Bloody, the Prime Minister did the same. A US high-ranking official, they don't say by name, but said it was a Russian missile. The wording, like I said yesterday, is correct, but absolutely misleading. And if you're one of these people and you're in one of these positions of power, you need to be you can't be as clear as mud. You need to be as clear as possible. They know what this is. They know, look, if this was a Russian missile, this is fucking massive that has hit NATO. And them not only speculating, but then being, misleading in their words. Oh, the Russian missile that hit Poland. Maybe the media, whatever. Media is just here for clicks and money and whatever. And you can accuse me of that if you want that. That is absolutely fine. But elected or non-elected people in positions of power in the government who could send soldiers in, who could buy missiles back, who are sending billions of dollars because of these incidents, they can't be the ones speculating. They need to be so careful with their words. And I'm so fucking glad I'm not in a position like that, because that would be fucked. It's easy to jump on conclusions. It's easy to go, oh, 100 missiles went in. This one went over here. Surely it's one of those. No. So it almost frightens me a bit of how quickly people are to jump on something that could have massive ongoing effects. And of course, I condemn any violence against Ukraine. I condemn any violence against any people who are in a war, in a conflict. And of course, everyone has the right to self-defense, and we've seen that. And the West and NATO is on majority supporting that right to uphold self-defense, and that's a thing everyone should have the right to do, is defend themselves. Okay, enough of my rant. I'm sorry if this went nowhere, but I just want to give you a quick update and talk about it, and a bit of a rant. So thank you so much. Look after yourselves. Have a great day. What day is it? Thursday, leading into the weekend. Have a great weekend as well. I'm going to have a couple of beers and a big chicken palmy. Okay, look after yourself. Okay, thank you very much. Bye-bye. And there's a lot of military experts who are, it was this, it was that. Unless you are specific air defense, probably with Soviet-era stuff, or at least Eastern-type weapons, you probably don't have a fucking clue. I was in the military. I did 6 3/4 years or something in the military, and I'm no expert at all. And there's a lot of people on YouTube and whatever trying to like, oh, military expert. No, you're fucking not. I couldn't tell you the last thing about air defense. I know dingo, bang, bang. But from some of the comments and stuff I've seen, there's been some guys like, oh yeah, I served X amount of years in air defense. And one I saw was people going, well, there's no way a missile can go and turn around and hit someone. And people going, absolutely it can. And there's that very famous video of one of the Russian air defense systems fired a missile up and it just turns like 180 in the air and just comes straight back and hits its own system. So that's significant video evidence that could happen. And there's a lot of people who are saying, well, I was in blah, 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 battery or artillery or whatever, who said it can. But these guys on YouTube, blah, 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 look at their credentials of what they actually did in the military. And like me, I was an infantryman. I don't know shit about that. Like, if I start speaking to you about rifles, well, Australian rifles or M4s, I might know something. But if I ever start speaking to you about fighter jets and air defense systems and this and that, especially systems we don't even have in our military, so why would we ever learn it? Probably full of shit.